makeup. Are you wearing makeup?
Y'all lying to me. Good morning. Welcome to this episode of Black Beat Podcast, where we take an unapologetically approach to the issues and topics that affect black people in the communities in which we serve. Today is a real special day for us. We have a special person in the studio. As usual, I also have my co-producer along with me, Miss Fawn Aberson, and she's going to introduce our guest today. But believe me, this is a barn burner. We're excited about this guest today. So, hey, Fawn, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, John. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for this guest as well. For some reason, she always occupies space in my head. I think about her a lot.
Boy, that's a big occupation, I tell you. You got quite a head up there.
Yeah, I've really, watched her over the years, admired the work she does. She's a singer, writer, actress. Miss Shalanda Sims leads one of the most premier multicultural, multi-generational arts organizations on the West Coast called the World Stage Theater. Since its founding in 2006, the World Stage Theater, under the leadership of Miss Shalanda, has produced thousands of arts education performances and trained thousands of young and older, predominantly black, aspiring, thriving performers. The World Stage Theater has made this year's top 5 list put out by Flossin Magazines of organizations who are building the black community back and better than ever. Welcome, Miss Shalanda.
Look who's in the house.
Thank you for having me.
Miss Shalanda's in the house. You going to talk to her? She going to talk to you?
Oh, yeah. John, so before she came in, we were kind of talking about, like, the Grammy performance.
That was a crack 'em up. Wasn't that something? Boy, that was something else. Woo.
They did a big dedication to hip-hop turned 50, and, the Oscars are coming up, and, we're still sort of waiting in on, what happened last year with the Will Smith and the slap heard around the world.
Right.
And so do you follow the award shows and stuff like this, Miss Shalanda, or are you like the Tonys person, or
No, I follow most of them when I can. And I've been following a lot, like the Emmys and the Golden Globes, all of those. Excited about Shirley Ralph and Abbott Elementary,
big winner.
A lot of black people winning. So I'm excited about that.
Do you ever practice your own award speech when you're doing that? You see those people, it's like, I never thought I would be up here.
I used to. I don't know that I have in the last few years, but I used to practice my speech.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's hear your let's hear the award-winning speech.
Well, I won't give you the whole speech, but I'll give you a summary. It's like, thanking God, thanking my family, thanking my husband and children and all the people who supported me and got me to this place. So,
Now, what you gonna say? What you gonna do when one of them get it? One of your kids? I mean,
I'm just gonna scream. I'm gonna be that mom in the audience. That's my baby.
I'm telling you, because how they all doing? I mean, are they all got active roles and doing things now?
They
in the
are.
Theater?
Yeah.
Still, really?
My daughter is a junior in college. She's out of town.
Oh, I'm sure she's rocking the boat somewhere.
Yeah, she's majoring in media communications, so she wants to do film and get into that industry. My son, who graduated from Howard University, he's a music producer and audio engineer. And then my oldest son, who studied business at SOU, is
tell him we hiring over here. You should tell him to come on.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Right on.
I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, she's a very musically performance inclined family. Haven't some of your well, before we go there, I wanted to finish up on her awards show because it was nice that she thanked God.
Oh, you gave her an award.
Because usually only rappers thank God.
It wasn't a small award.
Don't they? But, thinking about that, and who are some of your favorite performers that you follow?
Musically?
Well, just music, arts, theater, any of that. Who are you following these days that you really admire?
I really am into Jasmine Sullivan. I love her voice. I like her. Those are the newer generation, but I like Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan.
Yeah.
Those are.
That's that voice you got.
Yeah,
You got that special voice. Yeah.
You know,
a big voice. Yeah,
Anita Baker. Those are like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tend to dive into the historical age, and a lot of your plays do that too,
Yes.
right? And we were just talking about the critical race theory that's been all the hubbub. But when we look about it, the things that you're writing, the performances that you're producing, is critical race theory. It's education. Can you tell us a little bit about your process?
Yeah, are you getting any pushback?
Mr. Washington, you were in one of those.
Oh yeah,
those plays.
Well,
it
you
was
know,
called
hey, look,
Who I Am Celebrating Me.
Look here, I had coaches. You know, I had coaches all over the country, boy. I'm gonna tell you. But this girl here, this woman with her work, but she had to be working. You know, I'm telling you,
so
hey,
fast.
she's serious about it. She's serious about the
So
business.
who did you play?
I played Mr. Cooper. No, I was. No, I ain't gonna, we won't go into that one. But yeah, you know, she.
Who did you play in that play?
I played Mr. Kaiser. Well, you know, Kaiser Shipyard, and I played a cop a conductor on the train, getting people on the train. I was able to do the dances with them, all that. I mean, it was quite a production, and I was really blessed to have that opportunity. I don't know about y'all. I mean, it just made me know that probably that is not going to be my career, but I know at least I could carry a little bit of something to hang out with them youngsters running around out there, because it's a lot of work, girl.
Your line was the 13th Amendment, I think. So.
Yeah, and I still today remember parts of that one, which it just resonates with today's type of climate that we're dealing with. You know, more chattel slavery, just different kinds of ways of doing it. The 13th Amendment just opened my eyes to a lot more other things. So I was really blessed to have that opportunity to work with Shalanda on it.
Yeah. So Shalanda, tell us about that process. Tell us about being you and writing these things, and why you focus on some of this historical context and education.
Right. So in a nutshell, I didn't get it when I was coming up. I had no idea about a lot of American history that had been hidden, right? Because it's American history. These are things that happened on American soil that we didn't get to learn about. And I didn't know about it until I got into college. And it was like, you know, imagine how you change your perspective as a young person if you see Black doctors, or you know about Black scientists or Black people who just did something amazing, and know that you can do that as well, right? Because we can mirror what we see.
Yeah.
And so that for me was kind of life-changing. It was a pivot for me, and I thought I wanted to share as much history and knowledge as I have. I did a lot of research before I wrote it, but then I knew I always go back to, is this just for me, or is this for a wider audience? And then I felt like this needed to be shared with students, with other community members, because we live in the Pacific Northwest, so we're definitely not being taught all of this information. And, you know, it's not like when you're in the South, some of these things, they're just, you know, they're taught and they're passed down. But somewhere along the line, you know, there's this generational gap where we stop passing along that information. And, you know, so when we see the George Floyd, and we'll know that that's not something that's new. Right? It's just something with dressed differently, but it's something that's happened before.
Yeah. Strange fruit. I think that's something that you in one of the plays that was.
Yes. Yeah. So in Who I Am Celebrating Me, it deals. We go from Africa because our history doesn't begin when we, you know, arrive in America. But if we go from Africa to modern day to present day, so you're getting like this historical journey in Who I Am Celebrating Me, but it's all factual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal play. That was the one you were in. And you were a novice actor, but she's had some incredible actors in that. So what I liked is that she was blending the really top tier actors and actresses and singers and stuff.
She put them through the grind.
Just the common.
Well, that's okay. Man, I tell you, I got a lot of. I told somebody, look here, I got more respect for these actors and actresses today than I ever will have. They got to work. So, Miss Sims, but tell me, sis, you just didn't wake up one morning with this talent, this skill. What was the drive behind this? Moving you into this phase of your life, just this whole drive to come against the current, because it certainly wasn't something I don't look at it and see something inviting Miss Sims to come and become who you are in the Northwest. Just doesn't seem to fit. So tell me how that all got started in you.
Well, I think me growing up as a kid, I will give a lot of credit to my mom, who just kind of let me explore and in the arts and encourage me, when you're at the family function, and they're like, get out there and dance, show them what you can do.
Yeah, that's all my brother Cleve.
So you did.
Cleve can dance.
And so I would, the adults were at the party and I'd be in the middle and they'd be,
see that was
girl,
Cleve. So go get Shalanda.
Right.
She'll dance for you.
Exactly. And then, my stepdad, he became a pastor. We joined a church, and I just kind of really perfected my singing there. I was able to sing and really be encouraged there. From there, I realized that, okay, I really like doing this and I can do it well. And so I began to perfect my craft and get into theater. And that was a way to kind of combine the singing, the dancing, and the acting all of which.
But when did the Black-centric part come in for you, becoming
writing,
the identity and the writing?
Yeah, so for me, again, I wrote my first play when I was in 7th grade.
Wow.
And
something we didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't Mr. Cooper, was it?
No, it wasn't Mr. Cooper. It wasn't Mr.
Not about her.
The story of
Hercules
Mr.
dog.
Cooper.
Not at all. I wrote it, and at that point, of course, I had to have some adults involved to kind of get this story out. But that was when I realized that I liked writing.
What was it called?
I do not remember.
A long way back.
It was a Christmas play, and it'll come to me hopefully before we end.
Yeah.
But it was there that I realized that I wanted to write. I was always kind of good at poetry and telling stories, even as a child in elementary school.
Were you a big reader?
I was a big reader.
Yeah.
I was a big reader, yeah. And my kids enjoy reading too. But so I enjoyed reading. I wrote my first play in 7th grade. It was in high school where I realized that, shortly after high school, where I realized there were stories that I wanted to hear, I wanted to see, and they weren't being told. And I took it upon myself to write those stories.
Oh, see there? Now we know where the beginning to the leadership part comes in at. That voice is something to make you stand up, go, okay. So now here you are.
Right.
What does it feel like to be like schools and leading us into a direction, being in plays and producing people and having these opportunities? I mean, sister, you're influencing a lot of large swaths. I remember when I first met you, you had the vision. And look at you now. You're actually envisioning bigger platforms. You're producing plays that are world recognized, all these kinds of things. I mean, what's that leadership feel like for you now?
Well, it feels good, and then it's heavy because, you have people following you. You are sometimes doing things that you haven't seen done before. So, but I don't think that I would change it. I'm really enjoying just kind of not following, this path, beating my own drum, but really listening within to know what the next step is, right? So that it's not all about me or what Shalanda wants to do, but I am trying to answer a call.
Woo.
Yeah,
somebody just entered the room. You didn't pay. Did you see that one coming in?
Yeah,
he just came. He right here, the call.
When you think about it, like how big have some of your troops been? Some of your performance troops? There's like how big are they? That's a
Maybe
lot of folks.
25,
25?
30 at the max.
So that's a lot of folks
It's
to
a
manage.
lot
remember all
of
their
folks
names. I
to
only remember
pay,
a couple of them.
and we pay our actors, even if they're kids. As you mentioned before, we're multi-generational, so and everybody can get an opportunity. So even just doing that is something that I hadn't seen done before, because I come out of the professional world of theater and the arts, and it's like you always want to get professional actors, equity actors, people who have been trained and know what they're doing. So for me, taking that on is like, okay, you have to work with people who maybe have never gotten on stage before, but they want an opportunity.
That's what she needs to get the medal for.
And it is. And I don't know if you guys have
community
never,
members and actors
Yeah.
and actresses. Well,
If you
that's
have-
a reach.
If you've never seen a world stage theater production, you've got to go. I mean, they're top notch. They're like Broadway plays. They're that good.
No,
and
real deal.
And to think that not all are professional actors on there, that says a lot to you. So what's your process of being able to manage that many people all at once? You blank out.
No, she's serious. She got a stick. She remembered my teacher. She reminded me of my teacher, Miss Dye. They used to walk down the aisle. If your leg was out the road, she'd pop you in the room. She had us lined up when we was in boot camp.
That's funny. One of my favorite shows growing up was Fame, and Debbie Allen. And she goes, "You want fame?" And she got that stick, and she's walking down, in her class. She goes, "Right here is where you start in sweat," right? Like, I think we try to create an environment that's family, right? So even if you don't know what you're doing, you feel comfortable enough to explore and figure it out. I'm not going to be a pushover or really, easy on you, because I feel like if you're in the room, you deserve to be in the room, but now you're going to figure out and learn what it takes. And it's not like making a TikTok or it's not like making a quick video, right? You really have to put in work. You got to learn lines. You got to know your blocking, and it's a lot that goes into it.
It is, and I think maybe she did use, we kind of talked a little bit about mentorship. It sounds like your leadership style is kind of leading by mentoring,
Definitely.
but taking it seriously. And so you trained all your children too, right? Because a lot of them became some of the top performers in your troupe, and I think you learned a lot from just watching her kids, and she trained her kids. So what was that like?
Easy.
They were natural.
It's I think again, for me, when children can see their reflection, right? I work with a lot of Black kids. And so for me to be in front of them saying, you can do this. And my children saying, okay, my mom is saying that I can do this. I'm going to try. And if they're off, I'm going to say, no, that's not right. Go try it this way or try another way. And eventually they build their confidence enough to know that even if they're not in World Stage Theater and they go into another company, which they have, that they can shine and know exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, Fawn, the one thing I could say, Shalanda, she definitely gives you dignity, allows you to have your dignity and your self-respect in the space, even though you may not know what you're doing. She actually treats you like you in that room, you there. Like she just said, you there, come on now, you on the field. You produce, and she don't make you feel shame about it. She just keep on going, and eventually and through the repetition you get it after a while. But believe me, the repetition, that's where the work is at. That's boot camp, girl. I'm talking about doing something up 10, 20 times, until you get it right. And that's it. But it gives you, at least allows you to have a sense of desire. I'm going back there. Regardless, no matter, if she said something to me one time that made me come back. No, I'm gonna learn this. If I got to do it because everybody else in the room was equally as good. I mean, but when you see, a 10-year-old child doing something, and they seem to be good at it, you go, wait a minute, I can do this, but it is definitely the mentorship, the whole desire to see the production, she continues to move forward. Because sometimes you're blind in the process. You don't know what it's going to look like. It's like we tell people when we do events, they go, well, we tell them about it right now, but when they see all them thousands of people coming up to it, they get the eyeballs rolled back in their head.
When you see the audience.
You know, when you see the audience out there, you get a little bit uncomfortable. You know, it's like but she just makes it seem so natural, just so flow. Yeah, you get all of that, but once you see the production come to an end and you get through it, and just this celebratory kind of reality that comes, you've accomplished something. So you know,
yeah, now you've had some folks come through your system that have gone on and acted on Broadway, haven't you? Or done some...
Not Broadway, but regionally. And we also have a program where we send kids to New York.
Oh.
Through it's a monologue competition. Yeah. So it's for high school students. They compete,
it's a big deal.
And they go and they compete against other regions in the country to see if, who can get placed. And in that process, they're introduced to industry professionals, and sometimes they go on to do work on Broadway or, in film,
right.
Tour musically. So that's been a really, really good thing. A lot of the kids that we've had have been able to go and have other work.
Yeah.
We come a long way with Shalanda, in the world of arts. And I was going to ask her, I was just wondering why, actually the Black History Festival platform in Oregon for Black History Month wouldn't really be much without you.
Thank you.
When you think about it, you remember when we first started out doing this, and you just started pushing into this space right here, but then you had to diversify in it, because there was so much space, you had to fill it somehow, right?
Right.
But without you, the Black History Month in Oregon.
For performing arts, for sure.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be much else.
And things like that.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's going on right now, February 1st through March 4th. So what's going on with that? How many years has it been now?
Well, for the festival, we started in 2008.
Yeah, remember?
2018.
She pushed into that space.
Yeah, right before COVID. COVID
because,
kind of sidelined it.
Well, when we started Who I Am, the play, it was in response to their nothing, there was MLK Day?
That was about it.
And I thought,
nothing?
No shade against the MLK tribute.
Yeah, what none.
But I'm like, there are so many other Black people that we need to know about because it's kind of one-sided, right? Yeah. You get the nonviolence, and there's nothing wrong with nonviolence, but you don't get the militant. You don't get the people who, were
Tell me about it.
In your face and making changes, in different ways.
Yeah.
So that was why we started Who I Am, and to educate. And we really wanted to go into the schools because we took the lead from Carter G. Woodson, who was, the historian who started Black History Week. And we wanted to expand on that. So I knew back in 2007 when we did our first Who I Am, and we're on year 17. I can't believe that. But
yeah, me neither. My hair, you can see, I didn't wear my hat today.
So
you can tell how long I have been. Right?
Yeah. So I knew back then that I wanted this bigger than life event to happen, like we do during Cinco de Mayo or, other nationalities when they have celebrations, and it's just a big thing.
Right.
And I thought, wouldn't it be a beautiful thing where our people are just celebrating, taking this month to celebrate. Now, of course, there's controversy because people are like, we don't want just a month. We don't have to take a month. But since we have this month, we can utilize this month to catapult, right? Like the rest of the year and doing, other things. But I knew then that I wanted to do a festival. So when we received funding, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with that $25,000. Yeah. It was the biggest amount of money that I had ever received. And I said, I know what I want to do. And again, it wasn't about me. It wasn't about World Stage Theater. It was about the community. So I was like, how many voices can we get involved? How many brains can we get to come up with what this festival is going to look like.
Yeah.
There were 10 committee members, and we figured it out, what the name was going to be. We had Jomo, we lost him to COVID in 2020, but he was really big in getting our website together, and it, so.
Well, and then it was where you performed it too. Now, not everything's that anything's been easy for you, Shalanda, but you've had to overcome some hurdles just on location,
venues,
right?
Yeah.
And it was it the Newmark Theater, or what's the? We got to talk about it, because you had to fight, for your right to be. Right.
Yes, and I think, I don't want to get on my soapbox.
That's
but,
all right. You got a box now. You can go box, girl.
It's hard being a Black woman in leadership, because you have so many hurdles that you have to jump over. And then just in the arts period, especially here, and I think maybe it's globally, but having this ideal of having to prove yourself and prove your worth, that your work is as good as, the next person. But also, again, just having people question, okay, why should you get to be here? And then it's not the same question,
Black produced performances are hosted in these venues.
I don't know how many Black produced, right? Because you do have a lot of companies who are not Black owned who are doing Black work. Well, that's nothing new. That historically, that has been the thing, right? Of Black art not being valued, and then as soon as that, they see that there's some money that we can make off of it. The same people who were telling you no are now getting the dollars to produce Black art. It's a vicious cycle.
Oh, well, hey, girl. But look here, no better than a fighter, because they had no idea what was coming.
Right.
You reinvent, innovate, you keep doing it, and that's why you getting this award.
Thank you.
What's the big dream, Shalanda? What's the big dream of yours? Has any of your stuff ever been televised? Has your play been televised? No. I don't know why that play's not on TV every.
We're trying.
We're
trying to get it.
OPB, somebody like that. Also, or done a traveling road show. Nothing like that.
No.
I mean, when John Ruffin came and his play and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
time
these
for
are
her.
At the same level as this. And Tyler Perry, of course, started off just in these small theater situations. So. I really feel like Shalanda is one that needs to have a rocket, tied to her, because I think she could really blast off on this.
I don't know where I heard it said, though, Fawn, and for Miss Sims, the best is in front of her. And there's no doubt in my mind what she got coming out.
Yeah, so what is the
probably going to be the better.
The vision, well, if I would love to have a central location where we could bring and train young people and adults, because that's the thing, right? There's adults who have given up on their dream of, performing or singing just because life happened or whatever. But, for those who want to come back and get some training, and I would love to have a center that is big enough to house that, with all of the multidisciplinary art forms, and of course traveling and getting on the screen, getting these plays turned into movies, turned into short films, and that's where we want to go.
A performing center.
You got to see it, right? If you can see it.
None of them old broken down. Well, I ain't got nothing against old church buildings and nothing like that, but I'm talking about a state of art performing center that you could control, influence.
Because we don't have that here. Right?
Well,
and I don't know that we have ever had a center, an art center, a cultural arts center for Black people or by Black people. I know we have a lot of playhouses, and I know that there is a shortage of space for the arts community, period. But there is not a Black-owned arts organization space.
See there?
We were talking a little bit about even when these film companies came to town, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about a lot of them would have to go to Seattle to get talent if they wanted black extras or just even ancillary parts because they couldn't find that here. So there's and the one guy who did the commercial, he was telling us he got a national commercial. He made 6 figures on a 30-second spot.
Right.
And I was like, what? And then that's not bad money.
Right.
In some of this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I'm surprised, and hopefully with COVID kind of in the background, more of these productions will start to come back through Portland. Are you ever interacting with the film association or the Media Producers
working.
Association?
Yes, I am
Okay.
in the
What's
works
that experience like?
with working with someone right now. It's been nice, and it's actually another black brother has his own company here in Oregon. So that's been nice just to find different people to say, hey, I believe in what you're doing. Let's support one another more than like this competitive thing that we kind of do.
Yeah.
Right.
Of like, let's support
Well,
one
you pointed
another.
it
Let's
out.
see what
Yeah, because there's
what we
big
can
money.
do.
There's
Yeah.
big money in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the time is right for this type of business to be in Oregon, like for it to grow and actually be one of the thriving
The
industries
business
here?
is here in Oregon already, right? We're just not tapped into it.
Oh,
So it's here. There are so many film projects being produced here. We're just not a part of it.
Ms. Sims, you've always fascinated me as a woman, but more so as a black woman that has a family of young black men and a daughter and a husband. Just speak to me about what that's been like doing what you're doing and the importance of it. I mean, we don't have that image anymore, as a black community. And part of what we're struggling with gender and, you get a kid today. I'm hearing friends of mine talk about, well, they struggling because their wife bring a doll in to give it to his son and trying to explain 80 different genders to these new kids. What has that been like? I mean, what's been your experience with your family, keeping it together in this climate? Your husband, what is the experience like there? You got black boys that are running around in this climate today, and you're a strong woman today trying to hold all this. You got to talk to me, girl. You come on now. Help me out here, because some magic is going on in that camp over there. And what's the glue? What's the substance?
Well, I know it's not something that's popular right now, but I will say my faith in God, right? Prayer. And I just really hold my family dear and near to my heart, and I work on it. It's something that we have to work on, right? Like communicating and raising our kids and supporting them and letting them grow and be themselves, figure out life. But I would say that we're just close-knit. We're a close-knit bunch, and maybe that comes from making sure that we had the support that we needed because we don't have a really big family here. So
what's the dinner table like at your table? Are you all like acting and singing?
I don't even know that we all sit
Wait till
at
a
the dinner
Grammy gets
table
dropped in the
anymore.
middle of that one.
Pass me the
Well, they sing. They do
is
sing and
funny,
act,
right? And my husband, he is the one who doesn't perform.
But he captures
But he's
it all,
the
all
most
the pictures
funniest
and all
person
that.
in our family. So we
I appreciate
funny
you.
at our house.
So you're like, you being a drama queen. You're like, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yes.
you got young black men, and they're active, and they're attractive, and they're moving around, and
And I'm
in the
very
climate
proud
that we
of
do.
them,
Confidence.
but I'm
Confidence.
also, as a black mom with black kids, even my black daughter, and you see the climate that we live in, it's scary at times. But again, we always have this conversation of like, we don't want to live our life in fear. You still go out, you be great, you thrive, and, of course, be mindful of your surroundings. But But as Black people, we just have to live.
Yeah.
And we cannot be afraid to live our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I respect you because you don't tolerate mediocrity. And thank you for that. You know, that's much respect to you. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Because we, as a people, are no longer in a society could accept mediocrity as a plan. You know, no more just getting by.
Right.
Come on, let's go get it. Right.
Right.
Let's go get it.
Yeah.
So, we alluded to it earlier, Shalanda, but some of your plays and stuff really touch upon, you know, a deep dive into Black history and things like that. What is your take on the pushback on the critical race theory that's happening in our public education school? Where do you think the education belongs, and how should it be presented, in your opinion?
I am saddened by what's happening in our country. I'm saddened, disgusted, irritated. I mean, there's a lot of emotion with where I think it also comes from fear, right? Of like people learning the truth of this nation, and the banning of books, of literature, you know, that can be fictional, but obviously it's hitting a nerve with, you know, some people, which you have to ask, well, why is this bothering certain people in our country so much that we have to go to the extent of banning books, banning information? And if you know your history, you'll know that this is not something that's new. They didn't want slaves to read. Why? Because if you have knowledge, then you can change your situation and you're less likely to accept certain things, right? So again, I think it's this fear that people are going to be liberated in their mind, liberated, you know, in their lives.
Yeah, they might get a little bit more bread.
Right.
Are you seeing any resistance here in Oregon around the work that you're doing?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not received or noticed any resistance. At least not from white people or, you know, people who are against CRT. People have actually invited us a lot to come and educate students. Yeah. We're about to do our 17th annual Who I Am Celebrating Me, and we had to add a student matinee.
Nice.
Wow.
Because that's how many schools are saying, hey.
Good.
Yeah,
Oregon.
Because, you know, I think Oregon is surprisingly, we might have been on the whip on the end, you know, probably one of the worst places. But on the whip, on the forest recovery side, I'm starting to see a state that's really trying, you know, and as much as we want to continue to pound on the wall about it, which we should, there are some notable availability to want to somehow transcend some of the historical bullshit that we've been dealing with in a lifetime. So I much respect to them. I see a big transference of wealth in the state these days. I see people coming up. And we ain't coming up fast enough and big enough, but sister, I'm so glad you're on the train. Because we must have to get Mr. Cooper.
Well, let's talk, you know,
what we do with Mr. Kaiser's shipyard, Mr. Cooper was there. Go, girl.
So, just one of the qualities that had Miss Shalanda made the list, right, was the leadership qualities, the, you know, being able to get to the top of the platforms and things like that and overcome the barriers. Mm-hmm. But it was also the philanthropy. So tell us a little bit about how your organization gives back and how they give back to the Black community and specifically.
Right. So I would say one way we give back, and this is the biggest way for me, is that we don't charge to be a part of our program.
Now, y'all hear that? Yeah, you can become another Denzel and don't have to pay a dime to be. I don't know whether y'all listening to this, but y'all better get up.
All these,
get on down.
These modeling agencies, different talent agencies, that, you know, want your $1,500 to turn
or more
into a
yes. Who, you know, are selling you this pipe dream of like, you can become the next star. Just give us $6,000. Right. You know, but
I've been there, done that.
Yes. Yeah. So we remove those barriers.
Nice.
And that, I think, for us, that is the biggest way that we give back. We also go and teach kids in remote places. And also, we offer space, and we promote other organizations who, might not be as well known as we are. Now, there's some people who are more known than we are, but for the person who's just starting their business and nobody knows about them, or an artist who wants to get on stage and they're doing spoken word, but they don't have a lot of experience. I think that for us, giving back, that's what giving back looks like.
And I think that builds so much confidence. I think we really underplay what public performance, right, can do for somebody's self-esteem. Even you, John. Like,
what you mean, even me? What the hell
I know
wrong
you
with my
don't have any
self-esteem?
confidence issues, but when it came to, we were looking like, hey, why don't you get into this act? Let's see what it's like. And I think it was the health clinic that referred you to some auditions.
Yeah. There was a sister that was working at the clinic over there. That's right.
I'm thinking John had one line, and I was lucky enough to get a ticket, right, to go, because it was, I don't remember what it was,
because you had to come.
Yeah, maybe I had to go.
Yeah.
And just, you were marching, you were singing, you were doing so many other things rather than just doing the line. And then you did have one line.
She
right?
gonna have a white person play sooner or later. Your ass gonna be able to go over there and play.
You did have one line, but
because I know
you
that
were
stuff.
nervous, right? And
Yeah.
I think normally, but what that can do, and I think sometimes the work that we're doing with small businesses and things like that is building that business confidence, right? And I think a lot of the work that you're doing in this community is really building the confidence, and you're getting it early, starting with kids. But you're not just starting with kids. You also are doing the older community.
Yeah,
as well. It's
integrating us,
generational. Like,
Yes.
she's got the young and the super old. I mean,
Yes.
Much
no
of the gap
disrespect to
that
the
needed
super
to be
old.
closed
Yeah.
on really is the old person on the porch and the young person passing them by because they're paying attention to their phone. But at one point in time, all that stuff goes into the locker. Y'all all put on your sweatpants and let's get in the room and look at each other and talk.
Right.
And that was probably when I'm seeing these little kids running around there, they doing this stuff, and I'm going, man, I ain't that old. Come on, it's that kind of challenge in your mind, and it really expands you out. It gets that sort of that passive non-movement part active again in seniors and people who are engaging with younger people. So,
Yeah, why did you do that, Mana? Why did you go all ages like that?
Maybe because the way I grew up, right? I value the wisdom of our elders.
Oh, that girl is something else, boy.
And I know how much young people can benefit from the wisdom of our elders, but not only the young people benefiting from the wisdom of the elders, but the elders benefiting from the energy and the life of the young people.
Wow.
And, really, as I mentioned before, somewhere along the line, we lost that communication or that passing down of history. So that was a way to get everybody in the room, to love on one another, because you just don't know what everybody's family dynamic is or, where they are in the community. So this is like an opportunity, like you said, John, of like getting in there. We're going to put everything away. We're going to come in and we're going to sing, dance, act. We're going to laugh hard.
Cry every once in a
Cry
while.
sometimes,
Mostly
right?
you.
Yeah, no, I mean, even right now, as I'm reflecting back on the experience, it's emotional. I mean, because I see the largeness in what Ms. Sims is up against and how she, as a person in that room, the single energy that is producing that momentum in that space. And even though unbeknownst to us, there's something being revealed that's deeper than our ability to communicate it. But there's aliveness, there's a life coming forward, and there's a message being demonstrated on all levels, not just the overt kind to the public, but internal to us also. Right. So, sister, keep doing what you're doing. Miss Sims, you hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Don't even worry about the rest of us. Because let me tell you something. If you was a defensive end and I was a linebacker, I'd play behind you all day.
Okay.
You understand me, girlfriend? So you keep on, because you got that go get 'em in you, and that's what we need. We need that grit.
Yeah, I wonder-
pioneers, to keep you on. So keep doing what you do.
Do you feel like you could produce and direct other people's plays?
I do, and I have.
Oh.
Yeah, I have.
I think you got it too. I think you have all the what is it, the triple threat.
I think I can.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
I
like
know you can.
being able to sing, being able to act, and then having your own company. So, some people are like, I haven't seen you on the stage in a while. You haven't been, why aren't you performing? And so, like, sometimes you have to pick and choose. Okay, right now I'm just directing. I'm running my company. I'm pouring into other people. And then when I get a minute, I'll go and be on stage with, somebody else. But I really enjoy, and I feel like it's a privilege to be able to share and educate, because, like you said, and when you're in the room, there are people in the room who are like, "What? I didn't know this happened in history. Seriously?"
Yeah.
And we are able to have these conversations. What delights me so much is that when somebody has gone through, we like to say the program, but it's really a play, but it's a program because you are learning, right? It's like you're being thrown into the fire, but you're learning in the process, and they go back and they come back the next year, and, for those who have been in it year after year, and they go, you know what? We were at school and somebody said this, and I told them, no, this is not right. I corrected them, or I shared this information with them that we learned, because, again, like I said, when this particular piece is factual. We also did Vanport. That's factual, right? So I don't know why I love history so much, but I do. I enjoy it, and I enjoy sharing it.
She ain't telling you, though. She's sitting here in a modest way. But the girl also got some pipes on her. She can sing. And I don't know, she must have sang herself in the stardom or something, but she can sing. I ain't know if you heard her sing. Have you ever heard her sing?
In that play, I think you had a song in that play, didn't you? In the We Are...
In the Who I Am?
Celebrating Me?
Yes, that is the one time where I perform with
I don't
the
know
cast.
how. You're back scene, and then you run on stage, and then you're back
and then I'm
scene.
back.
Yeah, that's
yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I heard her there. Are you trying to say something, or...
Nah, I always like to hear her sing. What you trying to hear her sing or something? Yeah, she can sing if you wanted to sing. You got to ask her to sing a song. What's wrong with you? Don't look over here at me. She the one that can sing. I can't sing. Well, at least I think I can every once in a while. But ask her to sing something.
Are you, Shalanda?
Look at her.
Would you share a note or two from a line or three?
Yeah.
A note or two from a line or three.
Come on. Share something with our listeners, sis.
Well, I would say one of the songs that I sing a lot every year in the play is Mahalia Jackson. Soon I will be done. Trouble of the world. Trouble of the world. Trouble of this world.
See that? Now, I'll tell you, Mr. Cooper, I know who the man was, though, but y'all don't think I didn't learn something. Mr. Kaiser, who he was. But, boy, I'm going to tell you, girl, thank you for coming to see us. You hear me?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, this is...
What a great note to end on.
But before we end this podcast, Ms. Sims, tell the world something special that you want them to hear for this Black History Month, and just something that we might have not asked you that you might have think that the world should hear. But I wanted to hear from you, and I want you to share it with the world as they can listen today.
Black history is a time for the nation to reflect on the history of America and the disproportionate the disparities that we still have. Yes, we've made progress, but we still have so much further to go with equality for all human beings. And this year's theme for Black History Festival Northwest is learn, love, and heal. And I think for us as humanity, that's what we need to do. We need to learn from our past. We need to love one another so that we can heal and we can move forward. And it's not, we need to resist. And resistance for me is a lot of different ways, right? We can resist, and love to me is a form of resistance. So if we are loving one another, supporting one another, we can go so much further together than we can divided.
I think the time's right.
Yeah, Miss Sims. Sister, it's tough being a warrior out there, and just as you said earlier, and times have changed since that last president we had, and hopefully it's some getting back to some sense of normality. But it was hard putting that warrior back away and getting back to that place you're talking about, that love and that dignity and that sense of respect and caring and all those things. But it is time, and most importantly, as I said, it's not to negate anybody else's agendas or anything, but I do believe that fathers need to start standing up a little bit more than they have and become recognized. I'm a real advocate of that today. It ain't nothing worse than being a warrior that ain't got a war to go fight. But boy, they better wake up and recognize this war ain't never ended. It ain't going to end for a long time. And you always got a sense of purpose when you stand up and you know that you got kids and family and people that need to be protected. So I'm there with you. There's no greater thing than this. And that is the love and respect for one another and to be able to support one another, get to where it goes. So, Ms. Sims, welcome. I do appreciate you coming to the house and saying hi to us today in Black History.
Sounds like a new play, no greater thing than this. Maybe you guys can collaborate. But let's make sure we know where to send people.
Yeah, come on. Tell them where you're at, Ms. Sims. And,
So the festival is happening all over the Portland region, but who I am celebrating me is actually at Alberta Abbey this year, which was the first time we performed in 2007 was when Pastor Fred Woods was at the church at Mallory Avenue, and that was the first place we performed, and we're back there after 17 years. So that's where that is. We also have skate night. We have black drag. There is the game show that the students are involved in. There's a lot of going on. So just go to worldstagetheater.org.
Worldstagetheater.org. Y'all got it. And I don't know, you don't got no phone numbers, but y'all need to go there and look up everything. Everything getting driven to that information highway, y'all. You know we kicking and screaming, old folks, but get up on it anyway.
That's also a good place people can donate, right, to the cause and stuff like that. So.
Again, donate because we do not charge to be a part of this program.
So that means, Fawn, get out the checkbook.
Oh.
No. No. Hey, y'all, look, this concludes this episode of Black Beat. Look, we don't apologize for being who we are around here, but we certainly love those who do come around here. And look here, y'all, Black History Month don't just end in February. It's always. Celebrate yourself. Keep doing what you do. Love on yourself. Love on your family. And God bless you all. We'll talk to you real soon. You hear? And thank you again.